In the United States, 1 in 4 deaths can be attributed to alcohol, tobacco, or illicit drug use. Tobacco users run the biggest risk because major portions of those deaths, 430,700 a year, are related to smoking. 16,000 deaths annually are due to illicit drug use, but this estimate is likely to be conservative, as substance abuse is indirectly associated with deaths from disease such as HIV/AIDS, hepatitis, tuberculosis, homicides, and other violent crimes, and incidental injuries. Drug offenders account for more than 1/3 of the growth in the United States prison population and more than 80% of the increase in number of federal prison inmates since 1985. Most drug abuse tends to start taking place in the teen years. By the 8th grade, more than 52% of American teenagers have consumed alcohol, 41% have smoked cigarettes, and 20% have smoked marijuana. 29% of all alcohol users are binge drinkers, which means they consume more than 5 drinks in one sitting. Men are also 4 times more likely to abuse alcohol and twice as likely to be chain smokers. Finally, the cause of drug abuse can be many different things, such as hereditary intake of drugs, poor self-esteem, peer pressure, broken family situations, and the all-just-try-it-once attitude of teens. I picked the theme of drug abuse because it is a very common problem in the world we live in today. I think that people have started to neglect it because they don't even realize what a problem it is in our society. The reason why I chose the song "I Feel Like Dying" by Lil Wayne is because it shows us just how the use of drugs can take over a person's life so much that they feel like they want to die if they don't have the drug they may need. Also, the song shows us how drug use is promoted to teens in the music they listen to. Finally, the song describes how hard the journey is to become clean from drug abuse and just how much it can take over your life and ruin everything you once liked. Alright, well, I thought that on the first chorus, that I feel, only once the drugs are gone, that I feel like dying. I think he's saying that he feels great while he is high, but after like the high is gone, he can't live without it and wants to die. So, then after that, he's basically saying, get high on the, yeah, hello, get lifted, yeah, I get lifted part. Okay. Then when he says, I'm sitting on the clouds, I got smoke coming from my seat, he is high, he feels like he's on the clouds. Also, the clouds could be referencing being high. Then he says, I can play basketball with the moon, I got the whole world at my feet. He is like so high, nothing can touch him. He says, playing touch football on marijuana streets. So basically he's saying, smoking weed is fun for him and like a game. Then he says, or in marijuana field, you are so beneath my cleats. Again, he's saying he's so high that nothing can bother him. He says, get high, so high that I feel like flying. Basically, he's saying smoke weed and get high. Again, on the chorus, what I stated before. Then he says, swimming laps around a bottle of Louis XIII. So he's saying he's drinking a lot of alcohol. He's saying jumping off of a mountain into a sea of codeine. I think the mountain might symbolize a problem he's having, and he tries to avoid this by using codeine or other drugs. I'm at the top, but still I climb, saying he's already pretty dependent on drugs, but he keeps getting worse, maybe. He says, and if I should ever fall, the ground will then turn to wine. So I think he's saying when he fails at something, he turns to alcohol. Okay, again on the chorus, like what I stated before. And then he says, I can mingle with the stars and throw a party on Mars. He's saying he's very high, using the planets to like symbolize how high he is. He says, I'm a prisoner locked up behind Xanax bars, so he's dependent on drugs and he's like a prisoner to them and can't release himself from the grasp of his life. And then he says, I have just boarded a plane without a pilot, So he's going out of control with drug use. And then he says, violets are blue, roses are red, daisies are yellow, the flowers are dead. So he's saying that because of the drug use, everything that was once good in his life is now gone. And then he says, I wish I could give you this feeling. A feeling like, wow. Okay. So he says he wishes that he could like make people understand what he feels and why he's so dependent on drug use. And then he says, and if my dealer don't have me more, then I feel like dying. So he says if he can't get his drugs, then he doesn't want to live anymore.
Okay, very good, Thomas. All right, anybody have questions for Tom? Mr. Cutwell. And,